What's up, everybody? How are we feeling on this fine Thursday afternoon, evening for some of you, morning maybe for some of you? I don't know. How's everybody doing? Christy, Nia, Debbie, Nathan, Erico, No Border Sports, Bailey Willis, all checking in early. How's everybody doing? Make sure you hit that like button. It's the off season, and you know what the off season comes? Smoke season. We got to talk about all the rumors, all the silly little stuff people are going to post online and try to make you believe it because they got to get views. They need clickbait articles. They got to sell you on things so you can listen to them. And that's what it is. And that's what this off season is. There's no real news sometimes. There's nothing going on. So people need to create stories. They need to come out here and just start talking about things. And that's what it is. Off season is rumors and stories and assumptions and people talking about stuff they don't even know, but they're gonna make it sound like they do because hey, maybe he knows something. Maybe he does. I could throw anything right now on Twitter. I could post some nonsense and somebody might retweet it and somebody might say, maybe is it right? Is it true? Is it right? Is it true? Like if you really concoct a story out there and you get people to believe it and you get people buying in on, you could create stories. That's all you really can. Like if I wanted to, I can make all type of clickbait stories, but that's what the off season's all about. So the most recent off season smoke that we got to talk about is Debo Samuel. Okay, last year he signed a monster contract to stay with the 49ers, right? 3 years, $73 million. We all know the deal. And it was crazy because it took him all off season, right? All off season. And we were sitting here as a drama fest. And now, of course, this is so funny. Okay, so we got this report today. I don't even want to call it a report. These Patriots, New England, Boston radio, right? Boston radio. They come up. James Stewart, 98.5, the flagship station for the New England Patriots, right? They go on the radio yesterday, and they started talking about Debo Samuel. So then, of course, it gets on Twitter, and people are starting to talk about it. And oh, is this true? And it's so funny because I don't even want to I didn't even want to give it the light of the day because I had people tweet me yesterday. Did you see this? Did you see this? So it's during the Felger and Maz show. Again, it's a Boston area show, and again, it's a Boston show. They're talking about the Patriots. That's what they do. And this is what the guy says. He says, "I got a text message from an NFL talent evaluator." This is what he says. He says he got a text message from an NFL talent evaluator. Okay, that's what he says. That the Patriots are sniffing around Debo Samuel. I can't even keep a straight face reading what they said. He says the Patriots are sniffing around Debo Samuel. Yeah, sniffing. Like they're trying to smell some shit or something. The only thing they're sniffing is paint and glue. They're sniffing glue and maybe some markers, something. They're sniffing some fumes, okay? Because there's no way the 49ers would trade Debo Samuel the year after they just signed him. The year after they just signed him to his 3-year extension. Like, come on, man. That is so funny that all of a sudden these silly reports, like I read it and I'm like, are you like, come on, man, be for real with yourself. You know, why would the 49ers even consider trading it? First off, but then all of a sudden, right? It's this they're sniffing around. Like it doesn't even seem like okay, a credible report. But again, this guy on a Boston radio says, "Oh, I got a text message. The Patriots are sniffing around. Like they need a playmaker. They're trying to get playmakers for their team. You know, obviously that's what they lack. They lack the star wide receiver. They go on and talk about they need a big time playmaker. Debo would be perfect for what? For starters, the Patriots could have had Debo Samuel a couple years ago when they in the draft. They went and drafted N'Keal Harry instead, right? They went and took Harry. They could have got Debo. You know, Belichick was scouting the same players that the Niners were, and he didn't take them. And last year, if they really wanted Debo, they could have got him last year. They could have traded. They could have sniffed around for Debo last year, right? And again, it's crazy to think that the 49ers would even fancy this trade because if the 49ers were to trade Debo Samuel, that would create $35 million in dead cap space. Why would the 49ers just say, okay, yeah, have Debo, give us some picks, and then they got a dead cap hit? Like, that would make no sense. And the Patriots obviously would have to figure out the money, but whatever the case is, it is not sensical. It makes no sense. Like, this is smoke season. That's the rumors. I hate this part of the season, but also I love it because I laugh at stuff like that, right? I laugh at us. I laugh at this stuff. What's up, Alberto? Yeah, Slatty says Debo's a Niner for life. He's not going to the Patriots. VZ says, why are they always messing with us? You know why? Because the 49ers are always in the mix of offseason rumors and targets. It's a team with a lot of talent, a lot of good players. It's a juicy media hub. And of course, when someone talks about the 49ers, you got a lot of content creators. The 49ers have a ton of content creators, out there. And all of us are going to eventually talk about this topic, whether it's right when it hits or the next day or whatever. So we all want to talk about it. We want to say how silly this stuff sounds. Like, you really think if someone's going to text you and say, oh, no, the Patriots are sniffing around Debo. I'm sure they're sniffing, but it's not around Debo. It's Huff. They're sniffing glue. It's silly, man. It's silly to me. Like, you have to be out of your damn mind. This is the thing, because off season, people will start posting this stuff, and then it starts taking it a mind of its own, and people start thinking it's true, and then they go and talk about it on the radio show, and then they'll double down on it. It's just silly stuff. And then, of course, when the players meet, when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch talk to the media again in a couple of months or whenever they do the next time in a couple of weeks, someone's going to ask them this. One of the media guys, oh, did you guys think about trading Debo? And they're going to be like, what? And they're going to be like, are you serious? Are you stupid? Then we get to sit there and say, haha, we told you. It's so dumb. It's just how it is. The offseason is like rinse, recycle, repeat. You go out there, you throw something, you hope it sticks, you hope people start tweeting you, and you get some traction off of it. There was another rumor. I want to talk about this. So Trey Lance today. Trey Lance, he was on with Quincy Avery on a podcast with them, quarterback's coach. This is one of Trey Lance's quarterback coaches, Quincy Avery. And they asked him, and I posted about this, they asked him about when Rand Carthon got hired to be the Titans GM. He was the player personnel director for the 49ers. He went to the Titans and became their GM. Great hire. And Trey, he reposted a picture of one of the fan pages. Says Rand Carthon, the breaking news post, whatever. And he posted it in his story with this emoji, right? The fingers crossed emoji. Did you know someone on Twitter went out there and says, uh-oh, Trey Lance is going to go to the Titans. This confirms it. This confirms. Because he reposted a picture of Rand Carthon in his IG story with this emoji. So Quincy asked him, he says, what does that mean? And he's like, I mean, it's stupid. He goes, honestly, I posted the video. He goes, I do that for all my players. He felt like Trey Lance said he felt like a fan page running his Instagram this year because he was just supporting all his players. He goes, Ray would wear some cool outfit, and I posted in my story. Brandon Ayuk posted a video. I posted my story. He goes, I support all the players, the coaches. He's like, Rand's my guy. It doesn't mean I'm going to be traded. He goes, he didn't find out there was a trade rumor. Obviously, it's fake. It's debunked, right? But he says Kyle he goes into the locker room the next day, and Kyle says, hey, did you hear about the Titans rumor? And he's like, what? He found out from Kyle, because he's not on social media all the time. He says he found out from Kyle Shanahan and told him, hey, there's rumors that you're going to the Titans. And he's like, say what? So, you got to realize half of these things that people post out there, they're just trying to get clicks and views and likes. It's smoke season. Like, it's so funny because he posted a picture of him doing this emoji. Everybody's like, uh-oh, he's tied with Rand. He's going to go to the Titans. Like, come on, man. Be for real. You got to be serious. Like, you got to be really serious and just silly to go out there and crop that picture of Trey Lance, showing support to Rand Carthon, who's now the GM of the Titans, to make it sound like, oh, he's getting traded to the Niners, or he's getting traded to the Titans. So it's the same thing I thought of when I saw this Debo trade news. I was like, this makes no sense. Why? These rumors are so silly. Like, it has no merit to me, has no credibility to me, And you got to realize, in the off season, it's hard sometimes to sift through these reports and say, is it valid or not? And that's why these people know it. They're like, oh, I'm in sports radio. I'm in, the media. I can throw something out there per a source. We don't know. Again, I could sit here and make stuff up. Sometimes I do know things. And I can be like, per a source. And people are like, is it true? Is it true? But it's silly because you don't really know half the time. You can hear stuff sometimes, but sometimes people could be gassing you up. So, unless it comes from the team or a very, very reliable news source like Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, it's like news, like factual news, then yeah. But sometimes sometimes it's an opinion. Sometimes Rappaport or Schefter, they're posting an opinion piece. But people read it and they're like, oh, that has to be true. Like, it's a fact. They read an opinion like a fact because the way they word it. So you got to be careful with the offseason, man. It's so silly. Oh, man. David says, bro, the Patriots missed out on Debo. Dude skipped him and went for Harry. Exactly, David. I said that earlier at the top. I said, you know what? The Patriots could have had Debo a couple of years ago. They went and drafted N'Keal Harry. That was an L. I'm sure they're still sniffing around Debo because they wish they wouldn't have dropped that L. They wish they wouldn't have been holding that L. So, my man Slatty, what's your question? Repost the question. I'll take a look at it. Let me see. Oh, okay. Slatty says, I feel like they might trade Brandon Ayuk or JJ to move Danny up. Nah, I don't think so. I think they love Brandon Ayuk. You got to remember, Kyle Shanahan traded up to get Brandon Ayuk a couple years back. I think Brandon's the guy. He's going to be locked and loaded. They're going to make sure they take care of him when the time comes. Jawan Jennings, he'll be back this year. He's an exclusive rights free agent, 7th-round pick. He's a valuable depth piece. He's a good part of this 49ers offense. He's a clutch guy, chain mover, possession guy. I don't think you're going to trade him. Again, I think they really want Danny Gray to step up and do something, but he was a rookie this year, and there's a lot he has to learn. I think he can continue to develop, but moving Brandon Ayuk doesn't necessarily mean that Danny Gray is just going to move up in the role. Like, yeah, obviously you would expect more of him, but you got to realize the work that Brandon Ayuk has done. His route running has improved. His strength, his blocking throughout the year has gotten better. The 3 years he's been on the team, like he wasn't as good of a blocker when he came into the league as he is now. Like those are the things he has to learn. Timing of routes and just little small nuances. And also, too, Brandon Ayuk has been working on his own body and everything. You see how much bigger he looks this year compared to his rookie season. So even if they traded away a guy like Brandon Ayuk or Jawan Jennings, which I don't think is going to happen, Danny Gray has to still go and improve his own capabilities, because Kyle Shanahan, for wide receivers, he expects a lot out of them. He was a wide receiver himself. So he needs a lot out of these guys, out of these players. If you're a wide receiver and you want to prove that you're a top dog to Kyle, you got to work on a lot of things. And Brandon Ayuk has talked about it a lot through the year, since last year when he was in the doghouse. And he says, Kyle was just tough on me, and everybody told me I was great. He says, I had former coaches in college said I was amazing. There's nothing I need to work on. Kyle said, listen, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to make yourself better. He goes, you're good, you're not great. And Brandon Ayuk said that was the first time any coach has ever told him that he's not great at everything he's doing. And he's like, had to look in the mirror and be like, damn, I need to get better to be a top dog in this league. And you can see the big leap that Brandon Ayuk has made. So, no, I don't think if you trade away Brandon, that Danny Gray immediately becomes better. He has to improve himself. Like, just because you're going to get more playing time or more snaps doesn't mean you're going to be good, because what are you going to do with those snaps? If you still have issues in blocking and route running and stuff, you're going to get those opportunities and you're going to squander it. So 100%, there's no way I think they trade Brandon Ayuk or Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings will be back this season. By the way, for those that ask, well, what are we going to do with Jawan? They'll sign him. He's an exclusive rights free agent. You offer him a contract, you bring him back, you let him ball out, and then he can go earn a buck, a big contract if he tears it up, because then he'll be unrestricted free agent. So this is pretty much the last time the Niners really control Jawan Jennings' contract. After this, if he goes out and goes crazy, he's free to make his money on the market. So, A Boogie, this is exactly how I feel. I love this comment. He says, the NFL media dudes are the OG clout chasers. They 100%. A Boogie, this is they are 100% the OG clout chasers. Radio guys, especially, like, they invented clout chasing, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Clout chasing 101. Clout chasers galore. The media, those people that post this, Debo sniffing around, that was pure clout. That's pure clout. Come on. That was the stupidest thing I saw all week. I was like, come on, bro. Really? You really think the Niners are going to... And of course, there's pages posting it like, oh, like they think it's for real. Like, there's people out there that really think it's real. If I post about it, it's like me laughing. Like, okay, this is stupid. This is silly. This is fake news. Because there's no way the Niners trade Debo. Same thing with the Trey Lance, right? His rumor a couple weeks ago, he's going to the Titans. When I saw that, I was like, I laughed. I was like, you guys really think his story post with him doing this means he's going to be traded? Like, that is goofy to me. Anybody that thought Trey Lance doing this to somebody doesn't follow social media, because he does that to literally every player, every coach that leaves. He supports them. Like he says, he runs his Instagram like a fan page, especially this year. I didn't even play. I was bored. I barely get on social media, but when I did, it was just to show support for everybody. So it's a good question. It's a good question, Alberto. He says, do you think if New England had taken Debo in the draft, be the same Debo that Kyle developed? It might be different because Kyle saw this guy from the jump, from the Senior Bowl. I remember this. I remember the whole, because I was there. I was kind of going along, scouting these players. I was looking at players, and I remember Kyle was at the Senior Bowl, and I remember him like looking over, and Debo was on that team, and you can just tell like that look on his eye with Debo, and it was crazy because he would do these route stuff, and Kyle's told the story of like how he saw this guy at the Senior Bowl. He's like, oh, I got some ideas of how I could use him. I'm not, obviously Bill Belichick's a hell of a coach. I'm sure he would figure out ways to utilize him the way he, how Debo is. He would, but Kyle specifically saw this guy, and the moment he kind of started coaching him on the Senior Bowl, he already had his action, his plan. Like he knew what he was going to do with Debo in terms of utilizing him in the offense. Like he already was thinking like months ahead of when he would be on the Niners offense. Like, oh my God, I got to get these plays installed and stuff. So, I mean, I'm sure Belichick would utilize it a little bit, but I don't know to the extent that Kyle, has made him the type of player he has, that wide receiver, running back, wide back type guy. And, we talked about it last year when Debo was, in those big rumors of trades and what are they going to do with Debo? We talked about it. And I said, honestly, this is the best system for him because Kyle utilized him different than anybody. Kyle uses Debo more in a way that I think gets the most out of him than any coach would. I mean, obviously now people see it. So if they were to get him on their team, they would use him a lot similar to Kyle because they're like, they've seen it and it's like, oh, it's successful. But I don't know they would use it in the amount that Kyle did because he figured it out. He saw this guy, scouted him, and was like, this is the guy I need on my offense. And he was a catalyst for this team for many, many, for many years. Obviously, he still was this year, but it was a little different when they got CMC. He doesn't have to be that. Debo doesn't have to be that catalyst, but he's still an electrical, dynamic playmaker. It's kind of like how Andy Reid, he uses that pre-snap motion. He used the jet sweeps and stuff. I feel like if Andy Reid might have had Debo, he'd use him the way Kyle does because he kind of has a lot of similar concepts. But I mean, obviously Belichick's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Arguably the best. I'm sure he would figure out that Debo could be used like that. But the way Kyle used them, the way Kyle developed them, he had that plan from the jump. And again, Belichick passed on him, so maybe he didn't see all that stuff in Debo. And now he sees it and he's like, according to these rumors, oh, he's sniffing around. He had his chance 2 years, 2 times. Slotty says, do I know if Ray Ray's coming back? Yeah, he's back. He signed a multiple-year contract. He'll be back this year. Don't worry about it. Ray Ray's he's on the Niners. He's going to be staying 2 more years, I think. Was it 3 years? VZ says, what do I think about the Clint Kubiak signing? Yeah, that was a nice signing, man. I loved it. I think that's a good move. We lose Bobby Slowick, passing game coordinator. They got Clint Kubiak, the former offensive coordinator for the Vikings and the former QB coach for the Broncos. So he's coached Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson. So, he's been around some pretty good quarterbacks. Kyle, Kirk Cousins, Kyle, Kubiak. There's a little history there. So I feel like this guy knows the system well. He can kind of come right in. And I don't know what his exact role is going to be, but probably passing game coordinator. His brother's on the team. Was it Clay Kubiak? He's the assistant quarterbacks coach. He used to be a defensive quality control coach. So his brother's on there. Again, their dad, Gary Kubiak, was an NFL coach in the past. So they got good bloodlines. And Kyle Shanahan and his dad, they got strong bloodlines. So I think it's a good coach hire. You lose Bobby Slowick and you replace him with a solid guy that's been a coordinator in the NFL. So I definitely think it's a good move. Solid. The Niners know how to replace players and coaches very well. So VZ says we almost got an old school Broncos team. Yeah, coaching staff is Broncos heavy. You're right. So it's good to see. Alberto says, would I consider trading Mitchell? I love Elijah Mitchell, but I think I would, honestly. But I don't know how much you'd get out of him because he does have that injury potential. So teams would probably be very weary of a guy like Elijah Mitchell. I love Elijah Mitchell. I think he's a great player. I think he's so good for Kyle Shanahan's system. But again, he's a 6th-round pick who's kind of overachieving with Kyle. Kyle makes guys look better sometimes than they really are, in his system because the way he, utilizes the blocking schemes. But I think he's a good player. He'd be good on another team too. Maybe better for the 49ers than other teams, but his health is an issue. 2 years straight, he's hasn't been able to play a full season, and I think teams look into that. So I don't know if we really get much out of him. So I'd keep him, see if he can stay healthy, but we'll see. Cheesecake says Max McCaffrey soon to be wide receiver coach for the 49ers. They might as well get the McCaffreys, the family of the the McCaffrey family, the Kubiak, the Shanahan. Go get all the families. Go get all the families, the famous families, and just make them part of your staff, your coaching staff. Go get Joey Bosa, so you can have Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa. Go get the Bosa brothers. Just get all the brothers. Get them all. Get them all. Let's do it. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Oh, this is spicy right here. Let's talk about this. Fable says I'd be down to trade Debo to New England, but I would hate his dead cap. Yeah, that's the only reason I would question. The dead cap is correct. I think it's more than 28. I believe I read it was 35 million. So it's within that within a $30 million range. That'd be crazy to go trade this guy Debo for, and you'd have a huge dead cap. I get it. Debo would give you a lot. I get it. People that say trade him. I'm not going to sit here and stomp on your parade. Obviously, it's fake rumors, whatever. His dead cap is silly. There's no way you do it because of that. But I get why people would want to trade it. You'd get a lot in return. But Debo's a playmaker. I feel like a lot of people are down on Debo this year. I did see a lot of people say, "Oh, trade him. He's this, that, the other." He had a down season. Oh, we can't sit here and sugarcoat it. He did. He was hurt this year, but Debo is very important to this team. I think this offseason is going to be different because last year he didn't really get to train the way he wanted to. He had to kind of not train. He had to kind of make sure he didn't get hurt because he was in a contract situation. It was a weird offseason, and that's why I think people don't realize Debo last year didn't have his typical offseason. This year, I expect him to go in there, grind it out, get himself in like peak shape, and go out there and work his ass off. And you got to realize they had 3 quarterbacks last year, and he didn't really get to build any chemistry with any of them, to be honest. So now he's going to have a full off season. He should have a little bit more time to build chemistry with these guys, and Debo's going to ball out, man. I feel like a lot of people are underestimating Debo and what he can do because they saw last year. Last year was a mirage for Debo, man. He's going to come into camp and be ready to kick some ass, and I think next year he's going to be a big time. He's going to have a big time resurgence with the 49ers. That's my take. I think Debo is going to come back stronger than ever. So we'll see. My man, No Border Sports says these trade rumors came from a guy who hosts a podcast name Stick to Wrestling. Can't make up its title. So that makes this even funnier. No Border Sports. He says that the podcast that the guy made these rumors up has a wrestling podcast. So you're gonna stick. So his podcast says stick to wrestling, but he's talking about football rumors. That right there tells you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know about this rumor. He says stick to wrestling. I think he needs to stick to wrestling because you have no idea what you're talking about in the NFL, my guy. To the guy who makes this podcast again. So that right there is absolutely hilarious. This man has a wrestling podcast. He's talking about football. Stick to wrestling. He needs to take his own advice. He needs to take his own advice and stick to wrestling. That is hilarious. That's funny. I didn't know that. That is even fun. That makes it even funnier. Stick to wrestling. And he's talking about Debo Samuel rumors to the Patriots. That's funny, man. That is hilarious. SG Sports Talk, my boy, says Debo isn't going anywhere. You're right. The only way he's going is to Cabo. He posted in his story that he's on vacation with his, his baby mama. It was so funny because someone messaged me, and then somebody else, I think, commented. Because I saw somebody post about this yesterday, and I was like, clickbait. I was like, LOL, this is clickbait. And then somebody commented on my comment, like, oh, I don't know, look at Debo's story. So I look at his story, and he's got his passports because he's flying to like Cabo or something. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's got his passports. He's going to go enjoy his vacation with his girlfriend. And you guys think that means he's got passports to go to New England? I got a guest coming in. There we go. Let's play in here. We had a guest. I don't know if he's still coming in. We got a black screen. We'll see if he hops in. What's up, my man Terrence? How we doing? How we feeling? Slatty says, what do you think about CJ Gardner rumors? I think he's coming to the Bay. I don't think he is. I would love it. I haven't heard that I haven't actually seen a physical rumor that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is coming to the 49ers. I would be down. I would love it. Hey, get me Chauncey, man. That guy's a beast. I would love to see Chauncey Gardner on this team, but I don't think it's going to happen. Would love it, though. He's a beast. Chauncey Gardner's a beast. So let's try this again. Where's he go? There he is. What's up? We good? What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
Hey, real quick, I want to squash this real quick. Last time we talked, it was a little hostile. I just want to apologize for anything, if because I think your caller might have, I don't know if he blew out of proportion or there was some context that was missing. So I want to apologize to you because it felt like I left the show and it was like kind of really bad blood. So I don't want that.
It's all right, bro. You know you're my boy, and friends have moments. I think any friendship has moments. Yeah. I had a crazy week anyway. We had a death in the family. We had all kinds of stuff going on. So we had a kind of a rough week, but it's good, bro. It's all good. You're my boy.
Yeah. You're my boy. I know even though we're beefing, it's off season and we beefing. I didn't mean to come into your show. I was a little irritated too that night. Maybe I'm still salty over the NFC Championship game, but hey, it's all love. And
yeah, we'll let it go. Let's just let it go. Let's let.
Yeah. All right, we're good. We water under the bridge. Okay, we
water
good.
Under the bridge.
So I know you got your show coming up real quick.
Yeah,
I got it. Dropping on, but I want to talk about this. So you saw the rumor. Did you see the rumor about some New England radio host? It's his podcast name is Stick to Wrestling. He says that the Patriots are sniffing around Debo Samuel. Come on, man. Like, do you remember all the drama that the 49ers went through in signing Debo Samuel? Why in the world would they trade a guy like Debo Samuel, man? What do you take about this nonsense?
I don't think that there's going to be any legs to this at all, but it's smoke season. Like I always say on my show, and I, for some reason, have to reiterate myself to 100,000 people over and over and over. Like when there's a news report out there, sometimes you got to go in and shoot it down. What are we going to do? Sit on our hands when someone's saying Debo's going to get traded? You go live on it. People are like, why are you going live on this? Is stupid. You have to go live on it because it's out there and people want to know your take on it. So yeah. It's breaking news. It is breaking news, but it is probably built on nothing. It's built on, so what if a team wants Debo? That doesn't
I'm
mean
sure
anything.
A lot of teams do. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. And then these guys that just try and drum stuff up, like I drum stuff up too, but I normally talk about something that's already out there. I don't ever create some kind of, like, unless I'm just kicking around, like, let's do trade ideas for where could Debo go? I might even do something like that, but I will be very clear in that, like, I'm not hearing that Debo's going anywhere. Like the Field stuff. Fields being traded is 95% smoke.
Yeah.
But is there a scenario where the Houston Texans could end up offering the number 2 overall pick and the 12 overall pick for Justin Fields? And like, let's say they did that. You're telling me you wouldn't entertain getting JSN or Addison, getting one of the top wide receivers, and getting Stroud or Bryce Young? Like, you would have to consider it because of what you could build with it. So like, I go out and I start creating like trade ideas or what could happen. How could the Bears trade away Fields? And then somebody's in there going, you're an idiot. There's no way they're trading Fields, Smitty. Let me give you a paragraph this long that I won't read explaining why I'm an idiot because I'm even talking about it. Yeah. So like, could Debo get traded? Like if we flip this script to say like, why would it happen? Why would the Niners do it? I can't think of a positive reason. Yeah. Like if there was an angle to it, then I would like, would it be money, saving money? Would it be, what's his dead cap even going to be?
So his dead cap would be about $35 million, which would make no sense, right? Again, and what you said, and I love what you said, because this is exactly why I went live to talk about it, because some people are like, well, if it's a rumor, if it's so fake, why are you talking about it? So, because you're right, as people that cover the teams and the sports and stuff, we want to go and give our take and say, hey, this is silly. It doesn't have any legs, because people, how many messages you get. I get a lot of messages too about this. Like they'll be in my DMs like, oh, what do you think? What do you think? So instead of sitting there responding to 1,000 messages, I'll just go live and say, hey, look, this is stupid. It's dumb. It doesn't make sense. This guy is a wrestling podcast, and you go and speak about it, and you forever hold your peace, And again, this happens every off season. There's going to be rumors. There's going to be smoke. Like you said, this is smoke season, man. Like there's going to be so many silly takes, and because these people want engagement, they got a show, they got to podcast, they got to get clicks and likes, and obviously we do too. We want people to listen to us. So sometimes there's nothing to talk about. So let's go talking about the nonsense that other people are talking about, so we can tell you how it is.
Yeah. I mean, your audience wants to know if there's any legs under it or not. So, like you have to go live on it. Like it's just ridiculous that people tear down the idea of going live on something like this. My live stream today, I went live on Kamara, I went live on DeAndre Hopkins and Lamar Jackson because there's news. And then my 7 p.m. show, I'm talking about Debo because Debo is but I'll be talking about it in this exact way that like it doesn't have legs. There's not a benefit. The dead cap's crazy. The there's no benefit. It's not like you're in a rebuild mode at all.
No.
Like so there's zero. It's like I think Shanahan would just be like he would just be like, no, next question. Like
of course, because they're gonna ask Shanahan whenever he goes live with the media in the next couple weeks here or there, because I'm sure he'll be live during the combine or something, and they're gonna ask him. He's gonna look at them. He's gonna look at the report and say, "What are you serious? Like, are you dumb? Are you stupid? Or are you both?
Yeah.
What are you? Because you're right. This has no benefit for the 49ers. They're not in a rebuild mode. Like, I get it. He'd get some first-round picks, but 49ers don't need first-round picks right now. They need to make sure they get, some holes filled on the D-line and, the O-line and stuff like that. We don't need prospects. We need to win a Super Bowl. Debo Samuel, you think the Patriots giving us Mac Jones is the answer?
Well, I mean, like, here's the other thing is like the Patriots. Let me just take a look at the NFL draft board real quick. Patriots have the 14 pick. They're not giving that up anyway.
Of course not.
For Debo. So like, what are the Niners going to get from him? Like, what could even be cooked up? Like, let me ask you this. Would you take the 14 overall pick for Debo Samuel?
No way.
Okay. But like, if that was offered, then maybe Shanahan would be like, we're not interested. You're giving us the 14 for Debo. Okay, I'll call you back. And then he'd be like, we're not doing this, right, guys? Or, like the reason you would entertain it, and I think you would entertain it if you believed that Jordan Addison or Jackson Smith and Jigba, if you think those guys are better than Debo, which they arguably could end up being because these are the top 2 wide receivers in the draft class, are one or both of them going to be even available at 14? You don't even know. So it's like you're trading Debo for what? You don't even know what you're getting. Now, I would say, like, if you guys didn't have Christian McCaffrey, which you have, and you could draft Bijan Robinson, that would be something that I would consider in that situation. But like, other than that, and the New England Patriots aren't giving up the 14 pick for Debo Samuel. There's money involved. There's dead cap. It makes zero sense. But if we were to try and justify Debo versus the top rookie wide receiver, you could. But you don't. I mean,
obviously there is talent that they can get to go in and I'm sure, again, like, you take the 14th pick, you get a talented receiver, he could come in and be great. But Debo's already established himself with the 49ers, the culture. He's a leader. He's a captain. So in terms of that kind of stuff, no rookie's going to be able to take over his leadership, his captaincy, his play, his just ability to make a play like at the snap of a finger. Because there's sometimes Debo can just take over a game. Like we saw it with Seattle. They tried to twist that man's leg, and he says, all right, F you guys. Give me the ball, and I'm scoring a touchdown. And literally that's what he did. The next drive, he gets the ball on that little, cross play, and he takes it up the middle, touchdown. I'm like, holy crap, don't piss off Debo. So, like, I get it. They'd be able to get some young talent, but nobody can replace what Debo has done, man. He's 101. He's 101.
And when you look at, like, okay, so let's take a look at, I'm trying to think of another situation. So another wide receiver that's equivalent to Debo in terms of being older, on a team, trying to think of somebody that's equivalent. Who's equivalent to Debo that is not in a winning situation?
I think the closest player would Cordarrelle Patterson. I feel like that's the guy that you can kind
of. No, I mean, like, value wise, because Cordarrelle Patterson.
Oh, okay,
who's a player that has very similar value but is not in a winning situation? Let's call it.
Let's see. Trying to think of some guys around the league.
What's the chat? Someone kick out
Yeah,
an idea.
yeah, Garrett Wilson, maybe. Garrett Wilson.
Well, but I think they're going to be in a. I think they're going to be in a winning situation.
If they get a
They're gonna
quarterback,
get
if they
Aaron
get a
Rodgers.
quarterback.
But like, let's say
Okay.
let's say there's let's use a wide receiver like, let's St. Brown. Let's use St. Brown.
Okay.
The
Well,
Lions are
I
in
don't know. I think the Lions are going to be winning too.
okay, but let's just use that so I can get the point across, I guess.
Okay,
But if
yeah,
St. Brown, if you were going to trade St. Brown away and start the clock over on a rookie wide receiver like Addison or JSN, the top two potential rookie wide receivers.
Okay.
If you couldn't win now and you thought they could be potentially better than St. Brown, you would consider doing that deal. But in your situation, you're hoping that JSN or Addison become as good as Debo. Like that would be your hope. And he's already there and you're already ready to win. So like that scenario doesn't make sense. It makes sense for maybe somebody like Detroit, unless you think Detroit's going to be able to win a Super Bowl this year, which, technically if they got I'm not saying Goff can't do it, but if they got a different quarterback, like let's say they traded for Lamar.
Oh,
like then,
Detroit stocks booming, stonks are high.
The Falcons could trade for Lamar. I think it's gonna be that Mike Vick type feel there. Lamar
would. I literally thought in my mind, Mike Vick if he goes to the Falcons.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London. It's gonna be phenomenal. But hey, I got to run on my show.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Raj.
Appreciate you. Hey man, sorry for your loss, Smitty. We love you, Smitty. Have a good show. Y'all go check him out. The Fantasy Football Show. He's going live in a few minutes.
Thanks, Raj. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Yes,
sir. That's my boy Smitty. Good takes on the situation. We talked about the Debo Samuel situation at nauseum last year. I feel like Smitty and me were like every night going live about the Debo situation. I'm glad he came in and talked about it because he's right. At the end of the day, it makes no sense for the 49ers. They're not in a rebuild mode. And, you can't just take him out of the picture and replace him with the guy immediately. It just makes no sense. So to me, these rumors hold no weight, but he's right. The reason why we go live and we talk about it is because I know you guys want to hear our thoughts because I get a lot of messages every day. What do you think about Debo? Oh, did you hear about the Debo rumors? Did you hear about it? So I like to come on live and talk to you about it. And because I'm supposed to do a show every day, I need something to talk about. So here we go. And that's what we talked about today. So appreciate my boy Smitty out there. So good stuff from him. Let's do a couple questions before we end the show today. Keep it a little short today. Not too much going on, but hey, 49ers did get Clint Kubiak. That was good news today. We talked about that. Obviously, we shut down the Debo rumors, and the Trey Lance saga continues because he came out today. It was funny to me that he had to go. Actually, there's a little bit more I want to talk about Trey Lance. Let's go back. Let's back it up. First off, it was funny to me that he had to clarify his use of an emoji. Like Trey Lance had to go clarify the use of an emoji. He can't even post an emoji without people breathing down his neck saying he's going to get traded. That was why that whole situation was funny to me. I was like, bro, it's an emoji. Okay. Now, the other thing that Trey said today was very interesting because remember last year you had Mike Silver and a lot of reporters. Trey Lance has arm fatigue. He has arm fatigue. His arm can't handle the rigors of the rigors of a season. So Trey Lance had to really come out and give some context. And I'm glad he did because you're right. I get it. He probably did have some arm fatigue and he was justifiable in it. So he talked about it. He goes, look, I trained basically for 20 months in a row. Like he trained month after month after month because he got drafted. He had a hip injury he had to kind of rehab from, and he was, recovering. He had to prep for the NFL draft. He had to show the scouts what he can do. He was throwing. Then he was going to be drafted to the Niners, right? So then he had to, do the offseason throwing, then the season, and then the next offseason, boom, 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 boom. So he threw for 20 months, he said, with 1 week break. I don't think any quarterback would have a fresh arm. So yeah, his arm was tired. Like I'm glad he came out and explained it because you had reporters last year talking about he's a noodle. His arm's weak. He needs to hit the gym. He's got arm fatigue because they probably asked him, how do you feel? And he probably told them because he's an honest guy. Hey, my arm's tired, whatever. But he didn't give him the context. Or maybe he did and they didn't want the context. And you had people report, well, the reports are Trey Lance arm's tired. Trey Lance had arm fatigue. Yeah, the man threw for 20 straight months without a break. My arm would be falling off. He's a young man. He's what? He's 22 now. Even if you're young and strong and healthy and athletic, your arm's going to be a little tired from throwing that much. You can be a little tired. So I'm glad Trey Lance came out and kind of talked about that stuff. But it's silly because he has to always explain himself for the most silliest things. The silliest things. It's crazy. SG Sports Talks. This is a good question. I asked this the other day. I kind of posted about this. I said, what do the 49ers need to do if they want to win a Super Bowl in Las Vegas in Allegiant Stadium? What do the 49ers need to do to win a Super Bowl? You got to take care of the offseason priorities, which we talked about over the last few days. Get some edge help, get some interior line, bolster the offensive line, and figure out the quarterback situation. That's what they got to do. Those are your offseason priorities. Make sure your safety's good and pray to stay healthy. That's it. But, man, I like Trey, man. The more you hear from him, the more he speaks, I'm just like, this guy's just, he's smart. He keeps it a buck. I like Trey, man. I like Trey. He's a good dude. People hate on him for no reason. I don't know why. I don't know why people hate on Trey, man. I like the guy. Good guy. Obviously, he's got a lot to prove, though. He's got a lot to prove. Because Brock Purdy came in last year and had a magical run. But what if Brock Purdy comes back and he's not the same? What if teams figure him out? Again, I get it. I love what he did. It was a magical run. But you never know. You never know. Jimmy Garoppolo had a 5-game stretch when he first came to the 49ers in 2017. And then he tore his ACL. He was never the same. But that first 5 games of Jimmy Garoppolo's career with the 49ers was a magical run. Now, I'm not saying that Brock's going to do the same thing and this and that. But you just never know, man. You don't. But I love Brock, man. I love what he did. He was amazing, man. And it's like you saw what he can do with this team. The potential was amazing. But Trey Lance has a ceiling that could be higher. Again, we don't know. But both of those guys, I love them both. Trey Lance is a great person. He's a good human. And so is Brock Purdy. Both of those guys are very humble, very well-spoken individuals. And I'm just going to support both. It sounds crazy, but you can't support them both. So it's fun, man. It's fun. It's gonna be a crazy offseason, though. And it already has been. It already has been a crazy offseason. This is only the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. This is only the tip of the iceberg. We are just getting started with the offseason. The rumors are flying. The rumors are starting. Just my main theory, my main point I want to get across and today is just don't believe everything you read on social media. Because I see that a lot. I know you guys are smart. But there's a lot of people out there. They take everything they read and it's so literal to them. Like, it has to be true because it's on social media. It has to be true. This guy's a reporter. He's talking about it. Just take things with a grain of salt. You gotta remember it's the off season. Off season is crazy. So Slatty says Purdy did good for a backup quarterback. Purdy did amazing. He exceeded every expectation. The guy was the last pick in the NFL draft. Nobody even thought he was going to make the team. So, Brock Purdy, man, beast, shout out. Loved what he did. Trey Lance, I hope he gets his opportunity to compete and prove everybody, what he can do. I just want him to get a fair chance to compete and do his thing. If he's not the guy, he's not the guy. If he's the guy, he's the guy. That's it. At the end of the day, man, we're in a good position. The 49ers are in a good place. Overall, you have 2 really young, talented quarterbacks on a rookie contract. That's a beautiful thing. Some teams, that's why they go and get a rookie quarterback, so they can build all this talent around it. We already have a lot of talent. Now we can go just make sure we keep that talent and add a few more pieces here and there. So it's going to be a fun year next year. I'm excited. So we'll see what happens. Sports Talk says that George Kittle singing at the NFL honors was cringeworthy. Definitely was. John B says, I agree with Raj. We have 2 good quarterbacks on rookie deals. So we really do. He says, hung. I'm pause on that one. I said young. Clark says, Kyle's going to draft a wide receiver. I don't know what Kyle's going to do. That man is crazy to me. But whatever he does, I'm going to hopefully it all pans out. I just want them to win the Super Bowl. Whatever they got to do, whatever they do, make it happen. Win that Super Bowl. Because I was watching that parade yesterday. Well, parts of it, I didn't watch it. I saw like highlights, all the social media posts, and I was sick. I was like, oh, man, I want the 49ers to be in that parade. I was like, come on, man. Mahomes is cringe. Kelsey's cringe. All these guys are cringe. I want to see George Kittle up there. Can you imagine George Kittle in a parade, a Super Bowl parade? You thought Gronk was crazy? George Kittle would go wild with that, the Super Bowl parade. Are you kidding me? Debo and all the guys. The 49ers swag is unmatched. Unmatched. These guys deserve a parade, man. I can't wait. Terrence says, as a Niner fan, we should be amped that we have two quarterbacks that are capable of winning. Let the best man win in camp, but also know that we have a reliable backup if one were to go down. That's it, man. That's a great take. That's 100% the way I see it. That's the way I see it. John B says, have I heard the rumor? Imagine a drunk Brock Purdy. Have I heard the rumor that we might try to trade for Chase Young? Imagine a both. I've heard that rumor. I mean, I don't know how much weight that holds. Again, it's smoke season. You don't know. I've heard it. Somebody told me. I haven't really seen the actual report or thing, but I've heard it. There's rumors out there that Chase Young comes to the Niners. I mean, obviously, we'd love it. Obviously, it would be dope. Obviously, that's what I feel like the Niners need. They need another, like, just pure dominating edge rusher on the other side of Bosa. Hell, I would love it. I don't know if it's, has any weight, if it has any legs, but hey, if it were to happen, I'd be hyped up. So, but yeah, let's hope that the Niners offseason will be amazing. I think it will. The Niners always have a fun, interesting offseason. The offseason is always fun for a lot of these teams, but the 49ers, man, I love it. I love free agency week. I'm like a kid in a candy store waiting for the notifications. I'm just sitting there like, all right, let's go. Waiting, refreshing. Boom! Breaking news, and I'm just like, oh my God. Ah. And it's crazy because sometimes you're just like, all right, I ain't gonna do it. You're just waiting, you're waiting. And then boom, out of nowhere, boom, breaking news. The 49ers have done, boom. Charvarius Ward has been signed to the 49ers. Yeah, it is one of the best times of the year. So I can't wait. We got a month away, and I'm hyped up. So, but yeah, anyways, you guys have a good rest of your day. I hope you guys are having a good week. Off season is crazy. Stay sane. Keep your head above water. Keep pushing and try to make sure you're enjoying your time because you don't get the downtime a lot. You don't get time to go out and enjoy yourself sometimes during the football season. So try to make sure you spend a lot of time with your friends and family and all your loved ones because when football comes, you can be on that couch watching football. You don't want to do anything else. So take advantage of this time. Go on trips. Go on vacation. Go to Disneyland. Go to Mexico. Do what you got to do. Have fun. This is the time where you get to have fun. So appreciate you guys. I love you. Have a good rest of your day. Debo ain't going anywhere. At the end of the day, Debo's not going anywhere. He's staying in the Bay. The Patriots can keep sniffing. Go sniff that glue, New England. Peace.